What is up, YouTube? This is BRIX Bro back from a long summer holiday, and today I'm going to go over this tank that I had made almost back when Quran was still going, and I was thinking about putting it in Quran. So let's get into it. So before we get started, I just wanted to give a little update. So I am a high school senior, so I am quite busy right now. I felt like I wanted to publish some more stuff, and instead of a mock, which I am planning on doing just probably later in the year, I wanted to look at some of my vehicles that I had. So I was going to go through some of the tanks and things that were featured in mocks and give a little in-depth analysis of them and give them their own separate video. Because like I said, this is the catalog, what I've been doing and my builds and things like that, and I felt like having separate videos for each one might give some people some inspiration and also just populate my channel a little more with some frequent stuff. So let's get into the tank. This is the tank that I'm going to be going over today. So it's loosely based on the Marder III, and it was somebody's model on Instagram that I sort of adapted to my own and changed the color scheme and things like that. And I really liked how it looked. So if you can see, it has that sort of front sloping armor, like right here, which is really nice. And I thought it really gives it a nice look. And then also it has that open sort of design, and the interior is not the best, but I did mount an MG42 on it as well. And I really like how it looks. If we sort of go from the front, you can see there's like a grill at the front, and then there's a few studs, and that's supposed to be attachment points where I can add maybe like tank treads or something like that, and that would make it look nice. And then obviously the grill is supposed to represent the looking hole or the peephole for the driver of the tank, because it's on that side. And then obviously you can see the gun is sort of off-centered a bit, and that's sort of how the Marder has it, or the model had it, and that way it just sort of, it's like the driver's on one side, the gunner's on the other, and I don't know, I think it kind of makes sense that way. Obviously it has the sloped armor, and one thing that I really appreciated was these clips holding on the armor for the treads is really nice, because it's using that like angled clip, which is one of the techniques I've always wanted to use on a tank. And then also this is actually just plates that are on a hinge as well, and it's like using that lip to sort of conceal it, which I also think is pretty cool. We also have, obviously, like I said, it's like the open air design, and I tried to add like a little dial to represent the engine. And then I have my attempt at a German officer sort of standing up, but if I take him out and take out the MG42, you see it's pretty open inside. And I did also try to add detail here with some of the stickers that I had lying around. And let's see what else. So as you can see, we also have sort of side armor, which is also really cool. And I don't love how it's attached, but I think it gets the job done. And I think that the barrel as well looks pretty good. And just overall, if I had this in a mock, it wouldn't look terrible, because, you know, it represents a tank. It's an open air tank. It's sort of, the history behind it is pretty interesting as well. So, and like I said, the history is pretty important as well for these kind of tanks, which is like the Stug and the Marder III, which basically use the body of Panzers. I know for the Marder III it might be different, but for the Stug I know, which I have a model of as well, which I've done a review on, the Battle Brick one, the open air design, or the lack of a turret, was cheaper to manufacture, so they would use the body for these Panzers and attach a 75mm gun to it and build the hull around it, and it wouldn't be able to, you know, have a turret, but it was cheaper to manufacture. And obviously Germany towards the end of the war in particular was struggling to manufacture like enough tanks, and so in order to sort of maintain their numbers, they built tanks like this, which were open air designs. So I thought that's pretty interesting history as well. I did have a second German officer. These are just old police torsos that I colored the hats on, so I might want to paint those if I were to use them in a mock, but I don't know if I will. But they have that the black uniform with the tie, and it's pretty simple, so I feel like it represents it pretty well. These treads, so probably the thing that you notice the most is the treads aren't actually even on both sides of the tank. So if you can see, one side has this like random assortment of Technic pins and things like that holding it up, and then the other side uses the jumper plates with a 1x1 stud. And I thought that this was a unique, I was trying out both methods, and I just decided to leave it on. And so obviously it uses the dish pieces for the wheels, but I really like this way, but the problem is that, here I have if I put it there, it doesn't actually roll really well at all. And this tank in general doesn't roll well, but when I have that there, it rolls even worse. So I took that off even if it looks a little worse. And on the other side, it doesn't look uniform, but I feel like if I had more of these and I put them across, it would look a lot better. And it'd be a bit more accurate. So that is that. Obviously, it falls apart as well because it's a custom design, and yeah, so that's gonna do it for today's video. Pretty short video, but I wanted to get something out there, and also in case I destroy this, which, you know, I have a pretty bad habit of doing, of just destroying vehicles, I wanted to make sure that there was a record of this vehicle because that was really cool. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Have a nice day.